Okay, I will begin with the questions. The first question will be for Ms. Gustafson, and it's regarding voter ID rights. Do you oppose or support granting the Department of Justice of having the necessary funding to participate in lawsuits against state laws requiring photo identification by voters, and why?
Well, I actually agree with voter ID laws. I think that we're living in a world that everyone is going to have an ID anyway. Our schools require IDs for students and for administrators. We have to have an ID for driver's license. We have to have IDs to get on airplanes. We have people crossing borders that are allowed to stay in this country. They're allowed to go to a destination, and they just kind of sink into our society. And I think if the process changed, I think if we had the I think if we had IDs, I don't think they necessarily have to be specifically voter IDs, but I think everyone should have some kind of official ID, very much like our New Jersey driver's license. They're hologrammed, and that people have for security. I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense that we are capable of tracking people at the polls that come in that are registered voters. Our voter registration lists are horrible. I think it's our God-given right in this country to vote, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having the ID. It makes it easier on the workers. I mean, we're in a technology age. We very much could end up with not a picture ID. We could end up with fingerprint IDs, but I support voter IDs. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Norcross?
Let me make this absolutely clear. I fully support the right of the U.S. Attorney to go after let's call this what it is. It's voter suppression. I oppose these ID laws because it deters voter participation. We all know who it's aimed at. It's aimed at particularly the minorities in the urban centers. There's no question about this. There's not a problem. When we take a look at the recent election, there is virtually no proof that this is a problem. This is people who are trying to oppress the vote. Thank you.
Mr. McManus?
I would have to respectfully disagree with the senator regarding there not being any evidence of irregularities in voting, and it happened on both sides of the aisle, quite frankly. There were some in some strongly Republican districts that there was what they said voting irregularities, as well as in Democratic fields. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons why I think this is very important is, and I have to agree with Ms. Gustafson on this point, is that voting is an extremely important civic duty. And I'm in real estate, and I see people, they do move around.
Mr. Minor? Mayor Minor, excuse me.
I agree with Senator Norcross on this issue. Another form of voter ID is clearly another form of voter suppression. There's absolutely no evidence of widespread fraud across this country, none at all. Why are we wasting money trying to fix a problem that clearly does not exist? It's just that simple. In regards to prisoners of reentry, folks who have served their sentences and complete their parole should have their voting rights restored. It's just that simple.
And Mr. Brummel?
On this issue, I agree with Mayor Minor and Senator Norcross. You know, with the claim that everyone has an ID because you need it to drive or to go on an airplane or to open a bank account, well, in the United States, about a quarter of families don't have a bank account. You know, a lot of people don't have cars, they're not going on flights, they're not making these trips or in situations where they would need an ID. You know, they may be working a job or two jobs that minimum wage and they're working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. When are they supposed to go down to the DMV to sit there for an hour or two and get a driver's license? You know, They don't have the time, but what they might have the time to do is stop by a polling place for 5 minutes and cast their ballot and have a voice in society, and we need to make sure we protect that.
Okay, next I'm going to turn the podium over to Lloyd Freeman, who's going to address the next 6 questions. Thank you.
Good evening. My next question first goes to you, Ms. Gustafson. Do you oppose or support President Obama's desire to pass a bill raising the minimum wage to $10.10 per hour? Why or why not?
I actually want to just answer something else. I appreciate what the mayor said, because the unemployment issue is and advancement for young people is not just a black issue, it's also a white issue. And I think it stems in education. I think we should do everything to educate our children and let them know that it's okay to be that plumber. It's okay to be the cab driver. Not everybody in this country has to be a doctor or a lawyer and go to Congress. You know, they need to find pride in the work they do. They need to find the jobs they want and make money doing them and be happy. And we put a stigma on people that are in lower paying jobs, and it's wrong. I mean, if my son wants to be the best plumber, let him be a best plumber. I had a son that was in financial management. He left to be a Border Patrol agent because he wanted to help protect our borders. So let's take the stigma away and educate our children the way they need to be educated so they can get good jobs. I lost my train of thought on that.
Minimum wage.
Minimum wage. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference if we can raise the minimum wage a bit. I really don't. I've been making 10% commission for the last 25 years, and some salesmen still only make 10. So I don't think it hurts to help people a little bit. Thanks.
Thank you. Senator Norcross?
Thank you. Well, this is an easy one. Yes, yes, and yes. Not only did we talk about it, we did it here in New Jersey thanks to your help. Remember, minimum wage is going to go up. It's tied to the inflation. This is about a rising tide lifts all boats. We're living in a world where the disparity between the rich and the poor is as wide as it has ever been in the history of our country. We need to raise the floor. We need to raise the minimum wage. Thank you.
Mr. McManus, your response?
Yes, the income disparity is getting bigger and bigger, and the reason is because of the way the tax system is set up here in this country. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, there's a particular plan that's been floated in Congress. There's 72 members of the House and 8 members of the Senate that have looked into, it's called a fair tax. What that does is that eliminates corporate income taxes, and it also eliminates personal income taxes so that you can keep 100% of the money that you earn. The reason that that's good, because after the Industrial Revolution here in this country, there was not even a term for unemployment. That's a historical fact. And what the fair tax will allow to happen is that all the jobs that were shipped overseas will then return back home.
So for the next part of our debate, we're actually going to take questions from our audience and give them a chance to participate. I'll begin. The first question goes to Mr. Brumell first, and then all candidates can answer after that. What distinguishes your candidacy from those of the others?
I think that, I come from, with the Marine Corps background, it's a little bit unique up here. That commitment to service that I had to the country is something that I can bring to the community. I think that, my younger age is actually an asset. Going down to D.C., I can be someone who's going to stand on the floor of the House for hours on end to talk about the issues that are important, to talk about the fact that the middle class in America is no longer the most prosperous in the world, that we need to address that fact, and we need to raise the middle class back up. And I think that, that ability to bring that aggressiveness, to bring that energy to D.C. is something that'll be a real positive for the group. And in doing so, really try and address the issues that the constituents in the district have. Maybe young, but my experiences have brought me around the country. And sorry.
Thank you. Any response from the other candidates? What distinguishes your candidacy from that of the others? Senator?
Thank you. I have a record. For the last 5 years, I have worked in Trenton to deliver, not just to talk. We raised the minimum wage. New Jersey First Act, so New Jersey residents get jobs. South Jersey, the higher ed reorganizations, so there's more seats for college students. The Economic Opportunity Act, which we talked about, which come the 16th, you're going to see a $60 million announcement for a sports and entertainment complex coming down because of that. New Jersey liquor laws, the Iron Hill Brewery, Camden Distillery, the list goes on. Local set-aside for veterans. Anybody drive Malfunction Junction 295 and 42? $1.3 billion because of the efforts of Rob Andrews and the New Jersey legislature. Motorcycle sales on Sunday. These are all job producers, folks. That's what sets me apart. People like to talk about it. I like to do it and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McManus?
Yes, thank you for your time, Senator. Just as a reminder, New Jersey is number 45 out of 50 in economic competitiveness in the United States. While it's good to have an interchange built for that substantial price, how long were those people working? My objective as your representative is to get lifetime jobs, not works jobs. I want to see every man, woman, and child that is able and wants to have a job to be able to have a job and to fulfill the American dream.
Ms. Gustafson or Mr. Mayor?
The record, construction jobs are temporary by their definition. There are no permanent construction jobs.
Ms. Gustafson?
Well, my biggest difference aside from the other candidates is obviously that I'm a woman. I bring different experiences. I'm probably the oldest candidate here. I've been a wife, I've been a mother, I'm a grandmother. I've been self-employed just about my entire life. The thing that I take to Washington that's different is that I'm an independent Republican. I'm conservative and I'm compassionate. I've worked with minority children. I've worked in coaching. I love to give back to the community. The number one thing that we need to do in Washington is be able to compromise. Washington is deadlocked. The aisle down the center of the House of Representatives has become the great divide. No one's crossing over. I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. Forget compromising in the middle for the people. And that's what I can take to Washington. I'm not intimidated by any man or any woman, and I can do what's best for my constituency.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. For 11 years, I have been mayor of Logan Township. As a mayor, for those mayors who are here tonight, you can understand and appreciate what I'm about to say. Being a mayor is by far, to me, the most toughest position as an elected official, because each and every day, you get the opportunity to work with people on the ground floor. You get people who come to your home, call you on the phone, email you, text you, telephone calls every single day. You walk into the market, they see you. What we have been able to accomplish in Logan Township has been a collective effort on the part of many people, from Trenton on down. But the one thing that we have been able to do is create jobs. Over 5 years, we have brought nearly 60 companies to Logan Township. We have created hundreds of jobs, livable wage jobs, jobs that give the people an opportunity to put food on the table, be able to send their kids to college.